And we are live. Welcome to episode 13 of the Qué Pasó Podcast.
Bad number.
Not for Bolsonaro.
Oh,
Well, I'm Ernest.
I'm Eduardo. And
Ozymandias?
I am a random Brazilian guy. I'm random.
Yeah,
Whatever.
welcome-
Repetition guy.
Exiled Brazilian here.
Exiled Brazilian.
Brazilian NPC.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome.
Okay.
Welcome. Thank you for coming on to the stream.
Oh.
Brazil, that's why we have you on, because Bolsonaro is now the president-elect
Yeah.
of Brazil.
Yes.
And the only one who isn't going to prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
And Dilma. And possibly Temer.
that, remi-
I mean,
that reminds
bro.
the first question I would like to ask Reptilian about something that Bolsonaro said, that he has been accused of everything except of being a crook. Do you think that's correct? That he's like really that clean, as he say?
Yes, I actually do, because most of the cases about him being corrupt, either about bribes or tend to be very weak. There is nothing substantial, so I will have to believe he is. I will go further than that, because there is, when you talk about corruption, it's like a very complex issue. Like there are things like United States donations from big companies that obviously influence politicians' decisions, but it's not considered corruption. Bolsonaro is not corrupting either way, because he actually got a donation one time that was a conflict of interest in a law he was voting for, and he actually gave the donation back.
Yep.
So
Wow.
I have a lot of issues with the guy, but at this point I will not disagree with him.
So, what is your biggest concern about Jair Bolsonaro?
My biggest concern is the way he speaks about the military dictatorship in Brazil, because because he basically, every time he's questioning the issue, he basically goes back to either it wasn't a dictatorship, or even if there was any authoritarian element, there was more democracy than currently there is in Brazil. That really worries me, because there was a lot of people disappeared during the dictatorship. There was torture. He actually endorsed a guy who previously committed the torture. He praises the guy during the impeachment of Dilma Rousseff.
The Colonel Brillante.
Ustra.
Yeah,
I think he's
Yeah. Yeah, so basically that. Second point, I think, would be environmental issues, just because he's wants to get out of the Paris Accords. He's also seems to have a very let the market decide about environmental regulations, as works his philosophy. And basically that in his ideas about policing, because he seems to have a really hard time separating policing from actual military operations. Every time he talks about policing, he tends to go back to Brazil operations in Haiti, and he used that example, and I don't think that's applicable.
I think he watches Tropa de Elite too much.
Yeah.
He's also praised Alberto Fujimori,
Pinochet.
the former everyone who's a right winger in South America generally liked Pinochet. But he spoke quite favorably about Fujimori, because I think Fujimori kind of set the trend of elected politicians setting up coups. Yeah, and I mean, if he was going to follow the example of anyone, I think it would be Alberto Fujimori. But unlike Fujimori, I don't think we'd see such levels of corruption. So I mean, I think he would be a bit of a lunatic as a dictator, but I don't think he'd be a crook.
Oh no,
And-
he actually believes in what he's saying because a lot of people, how can I say, compared him to Trump, and I disagree completely with this comparison.
Mhm.
I don't know what Trump wants, but Bolsonaro can clearly see that he believes in what he's speaking about. Like he believes his authoritarian kind of policy. It's what Brazil needs. It's
Mhm.
like what will move it forward.
Can I-
Oh yeah, another comparison, a good comparison would be Rodrigo Duterte from Philippines.
The Philippines.
Ooh,
Yeah. If it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
much better comparison than Trump. I
Yes.
think,
Yeah,
much better.
Money for killing commies. I will do that.
I actually know police officers who work in the Philippines, like because I worked with them when I lived in Central Canada, and then they went back and became police officers again. But they've said that since Duterte has been president, they've been very busy. They won't specifically tell me with what, but they've kind of hinted at what they've done, and I know people who are just regular Filipinos and have also said that they feel a lot safer. But there's also a lot more dead people. So I mean, if you own a funeral home or you're a casket maker, you're doing very good business in the Philippines right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think that I agree with the comparison with Duterte because I read a tweet once that said that Bolsonaro was as awful as the media painted Trump. Because everyone in the media painted Trump by, oh, he's a misogynist, he's a racist, he's a sexist. And many times when you start reading into these presumed quotes or the thing he's presumably say, there's always a but. For example, his comments on supposedly sexual assault on women, the grab them by the pussy comment, which if you listen to the entire tape, they let them do it. It's not like he comes and says, oh, I grabbed them by the pussy. No, when you're rich, they let you do anything. And with Bolsonaro, all the things he said, they are true. The things he actually believed. There's a video that I think it resurfaced a lot before the election that showed Ellen Page, an actress, having
Oh
a
yeah,
long time.
yeah. I know it's this video. Oh, sorry. Continue.
And I don't know, but I watched it and I was like thinking, so this guy is saying, no, it's not. He's saying, no, I'm no soy anti-gay. No es anti-gay, no es not anti-gay, but he says, I wouldn't love my child if he was gay. And the part that made me laugh was when she said to Ellen Page, pues es una niña muy linda. Si yo estuviera en el cuartel, le silbaría de lo bonita que es. Y yo estaba como, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he basically said, you. I think at one point he said, "You're too pretty to be a lesbian. Like if I was younger, I would catcall you. Like so, he did a whistle to you. I would like whistle to you. Like, and she didn't know how to answer to that." Because like I think she had asked that I am gay. What do you think I'm lesser? Do you think my relationship is lesser? And he answers with that. So she didn't know how to react, and she just stayed there staring at him. Because
Now,
yeah,
oh, sorry.
yeah,
No, nothing.
but
It was just-
yeah, that was
I
the
think
interview. Yeah, sorry.
Should we go over a couple of the people who were defeated by Bolsonaro? And by the way, I have to admit, I'm sorry, Manuela Diavia is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
What?
She's the mayor of Sao Paulo.
The running mate of Haddad.
Haddad. She's
She's great. Yes.
yes.
I will turn a comic. Yes.
But no, I just want to say that she's also quite intelligent. So good on her. And they tried their best, but I mean, I know that Haddad was essentially Lula's puppet. Since Lula can't really run being in prison. And I mean,
Question.
Yep.
What do you think about the accusations against Lula? Do you think they're justified? Because I've seen many people saying they've been politically motivated, that they were done specifically to keep him away from the election. What is your opinion?
My opinion is that yes, he did do the things he's accused of. The reason a lot of people take issue with that is because a lot of people that actually put him there are actually as corrupt as him. Like, if we hold everyone to the same standard, basically, it would be like Bolsonaro and a few other guys left out of jail. Basically, we would have to go jailing pretty much every Brazilian politician at once if you put to the same standard. My biggest criticism is that the left sometimes makes a case that Lula, like, sometimes corruption is necessary to rule, like, because you cannot achieve stuff without some level of corruption. But I do think himself, like, he gained a lot of money, so it wasn't just about ruling. But yeah, ultimately his charges are pretty fair. Like, it's, yeah, I think he deserves to be there. It's just the standard is not equal to everyone.
I mean, I've seen many leftists say that no, everyone was happy when Lula was in power. No, it's just that I don't know what is this going. What is this case? Because when I start reading into Haddad was weak. He was no match for Bolsonaro, but not in terms of what posted, but in terms that why we're having like this battle between a right-wing politician who is excessively charismatic and a left-wing politician who doesn't know how to get to the public.
I've seen an example like that you, Pablo, and you, Reptilian, will know a little of what I'm talking about. In the case of notary publics here in Latin America, here in Mexico, the association, it's really united. All the notaries in the country. I've seen the candidates of the last election. One was my teacher. The other, was another guy. Just by the handshake of the two of them. The one that was my teacher was really talkative. He has a lot of presence. And the other guy was like, just to feel his handshake was like, seriously, dude, and you wanna lead all your fellow notaries with that handshake? I don't think so, man.
And show power.
When one candidate for any election, when one candidate has a lot of charisma and the other has average or non-charisma, it's a total mismatch. And
I mean,
you
see. Why do you think that most people voted for Bolsonaro rather than Haddad?
Well,
that makes you think.
I think it was because of the violence and because of the corruption, but the fact that Bolsonaro is way more charismatic than Haddad is play I think I play a major role in it, because and I want people to take this from this election. The participation in the election was as good as any of the last elections. Nearly 80% of the vote. Shout out to the Brazilian people, because they deserve it. And because they really participate in this election. And
I actually like that. That's something that in Latin America got lost a few years ago. This idea that voting actually works. For example, in my country, when it was our election, no one went to vote, and we got Piñera, and no one liked Piñera. And the thing with Brazil, I'm actually happy at seeing Brazilians going down the streets. And I've tweeted this a few times, saying that, look, I don't care if you like Haddad or Bolsonaro, but if you like Haddad or if you hate Bolsonaro, don't stay calling everyone a fascist on Twitter. Go outside, go to a protest. If it turns to a riot, it's okay, but make your voice be heard, because you're not going to achieve nothing if you stay sitting on your ass and writing me things on Twitter. You'll get nothing.
Pablo Antifa confirm.
Now, I'll say this.
It's true. It's true. If you want to win these elections, you will have to go to the streets. You have to
Yeah.
talk with the voters to explain the idea. You have to engage with the people.
And another thing that I would like to to take away from this election is that Bolsonaro win with better numbers than Dilma, and with and better numbers than Lula in one of the elections he won. In the other, I think Lula got like 1 million votes more than Bolsonaro got right now. But that thing, and of course, there's this other issue that, for example, I would like to put this in contrast with the election of Trump. How Trump won the Rust Belt states, not because he won the majority of the vote, because people in those states didn't went out to vote. And here, people went out and voted for Bolsonaro. So it's not like Trump won because the Democrats didn't do their job in the Rust Belt. No. Here, Bolsonaro win because people is angry with the Workers' Party.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a big difference. I agree. When you look at the situation, I think it completely reflects how the Brazilian people feel. That's not something I could say exactly about the American government, but I think I have my disagreements, but that's what the people want. I truly believe most of Brazil believes he's the most qualified guy to be president.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, we may hate it. I don't like his comments about the military dictatorship. I don't like his comments about women and people of color and members of the LGBT community, but
neither do we.
Yes, but this is what the people want, and the people's voice must be heard.
Yeah, Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Yes. I mean, 50 million people voted for him, and I've seen leftists on Twitter saying, no, these people don't deserve nothing. They're just a bunch of fascists. Okay, so it's like...
More than 55% of Brazil is fascist. Good. Yeah, it's going to be awesome for the next campaign. So good when you say that. Yeah. It's totally going to work every time. Time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now that Bolsonaro won, anyone can get into a presidential election. I mean, here in Chile, we have a guy who is similar to him and that even visited him, José Antonio Cast. Yeah. And look, this guy, he had his time. I don't think he goes again in 2020. I don't think he's going to win. But I'm worried that we might get a guy like Bolsonaro here in Chile. And if something like that happens, well, I'm not necessarily going to we have to stop fascism. No, I just will sit and say, okay, we can resolve this by having a conversation and exactly what the people want. Because that's the way the Brazilian election got won. Because Bolsonaro offered the things that the people needed. He offered security. He offered economic infrastructure. He offered to take up the corrupt of the PT. That's what the people wanted. I'm not saying that Haddad was out of touch. I believe that many of the things he proposed, many people agree with him. I mean, that's why 44% of the vote got to go to him. But if we're living in times, and I said this on a previous podcast, that elections are now being decided by 1 or 3 issues. We're now living in the times of the single issue voter. I mean, people are not going to vote because of complex campaign manifestos. No, they're going to vote for one simple thing. And why they vote for Bolsonaro? Because they want to be safe. They want to be able to go back at home at night. They want to be able to live in a safe country. And that's all. I might not agree with what
I would say that actually is the second reason. I would say the first one is corruption, because when they do polls with Brazilian voters, the number one issue is corruption, and it is ahead of safety, healthcare, and education. It's always corruption. So I think that's the close second, but I still think corruption was the biggest thing. It's just that they could not present him as corrupt, and now he has this edge of every other party that they could not get into. It's like
But I think though we're going to see a change, I guess, because it's or an exchange. Because whereas you're not going to have someone who's corrupt, you are going to have someone who in the past has has authoritarian leanings. So the question is what would people really want? Do they want the risk of a military dictatorship coming back, or do they want less corruption?
Do you want to know my opinion or?
Sure, please.
Oh, okay. My opinion is that they don't care about the democracy. I think it's because democracy, it's very recent in Brazil. It's very young. A lot of people do not spend a lot of their childhood with that, and so they don't value it that much. A lot of polls that they ask Brazilians if they were better 50 years ago, that would be during the dictatorship. They say yes, they felt it was better back then. So I feel people just see the corruption and violence, and they want to solve that right now, and they don't really put the long-term value of like maintaining a democracy.
Yeah.
So
It's the same with now here that AMLO won. That many people, many voters of AMLO here, what they knew was a somewhat democratic country. That because, for example, I'm almost 30 years old, and every presidential election that I've witnessed in my lifetime have been a fair, valid democratic election. But and well, many people in Mexico said that the last two elections were rigged. I don't think so, but also here in Mexico, many people doesn't think that things were better 40 years ago, and which they weren't. I mean, the 70s and early 80s here in Mexico were one of the worst times of this country, and well, we have we have all the 19th century that it was a bloodbath here in Mexico, and I can tell you that the 70s here in Mexico were awful, in contrast to the 19th century. And people, and this is a problem that people doesn't know their history. The military dictatorship in Brazil, many people think that a military dictatorship can be positive because of the example of Chile, and because nowadays Chile is the third best country in standards of living in the whole American continent. But they don't reflect that they don't contrast with other examples. The Argentinian dictatorship was really bad. The Brazilian dictatorship, I think it came crashing down at the end. What we know about the examples of Peru.
And give you two words: Falkland Islands.
Oh my god!
Because they are still the Falklands, not the Malvinas.
The Falkland.
Yeah. Now I have to ask this. I wonder, did what's his name, Prince Luis of Orleans, Braganza, did he win that? I think one of them ran for the legislature in Brazil.
Yeah, he won. Yeah, he won. Was he? Oh, this is from the Bolsonaro story. That it's hilarious. The name story is literally Party for Social Liberty, I think. So social liberalism.
Oh. It's like what was the name of your party there in Canada, Ernest?
The Liberals or the the new one? Oh, the one with Bernier?
The other one. Progressive Conservative or
Progressive Conservatives. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. So his candidates were this former prince, and there was a guy who used to be a porn star, and he did gay porn, and he ran a campaign of family values, just like Bolsonaro.
Right.
So it was funny. Like, you cannot show here, but people were taking scenes from the movies he did and putting with his quotes from his campaign about family values.
Oh, please don't tell me he won. Please don't tell me he won.
Oh, he won!
Oh my.
Did gay porn.
Coming soon, Ron Jeremy for Congress.
Oh, for example, the descendants of the Emperor of Mexico, Agustín Iturbide, they are it's a businessman from Hungary. I think he lives in Australia right now, and he says he's not interested in coming back to take what is his. But for example, when he goes to the Vatican, the Pope receives him as the Emperor of Mexico.
Oh,
what? Really?
What?
Yeah.
How long did this last? At least the monarchy here was almost a century. They actually gave up the Portuguese crown to become emperor here. At least that.
Yeah. This lasted the first time it lasted 2 years.
Ah, come on! It was a century here. What century?
Yeah.
They actually invested here. They were actually determined. No, we're a new royal family. This is a monarchy. We're gonna do that, and they stick with that for a century.
And it was the emperor from the Wyoming to Costa Rica. And the second time it lasted 3 or 4 years. So, but
Así le quedó el hortazabal.
The NPC of Corcovado.
Yeah. Yes. But it's a good response because there's a guy who tweeted, "Now el presidente. No, he's not hashtag not my president, basically." And I'm just sitting like, I mean, do you know the song Bella Ciao?
Yeah.
I love it. Una mattina mi sono alzato, oh bella ciao, ciao, ciao. So I found, I don't have it here, but I've heard and I received the lyrics of a Elenao version, basically.
Oh shit.
And the funny thing is that the Bella Ciao song, since it has no mention of fascism or stuff, it's a good song and I like it. And I understand the context when it was written, but this song is holy shit. When I found the lyrics, I will show it to you. But I listened to it and it's holy shit. It's bad. It's not bad because I don't like it. It's bad because it really destroys the original meaning of the song.
By the way, I've realized that in certain pictures, at least on his Wikipedia page, General Morale looks like a Brazilian Hugo Chavez.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like Wikipedia, his picture, and he looks dead on. I'm serious, and if I'm right, one of you owes me an Inca Cola.
Did you in other news? Did you hear what Gustavo Petro said about Bolsonaro?
What he said?
He said that he was the greatest international danger to Colombia.
Didn't he just send back a Venezuelan activist to Venezuela, where they then tortured him?
Who? Petro?
Or no? Or who's the president of Colombia now? Santos?
Ivan Duque.
Oh, Ivan Duque.
Or I don't know if he already took power there. But
because they sent, I think the guy's name was Sala. They sent him back to Venezuela, where I believe they are torturing him, or were torturing him. I gotta find that out. I've been a bit away from things last few days. Let me see. Laurent Selle was deported from Colombia by an order of Juan Manuel Santos. Okay, no, this is a while back. Sorry. And then they gave him to Sabine. Ooh, that's not good.
Juan Manuel Santos is a total shield, in my opinion. He's he was elected by a center-right party, but he is playing. I mean, if Noam Chomsky presented himself in Bogota and tell him, you know what, let's statize everything, he will do it.
Oh no!
Oh, by the way, Noam Chomsky
Visited Lula. Yeah.
he said that Bolsonaro was a big danger for Latin America and the world. I mean, the guy that was the honor guest in Hugo Chavez's inauguration, that same guy.
What?
Yeah. Well, Noam Chomsky actually visited Lula in jail. He went there, and they asked him how it was, because the media is not allowed to interview Lula in jail. So usually other people go there and talk to him, and then they get interviewed. I think he was crying a little bit while he got interviewed, talking about how was seeing Lula in jail. Like, it was pretty surreal. Like,
I keep seeing this on Twitter about a possible war that Brazil will have with Venezuela because of some of Bolsonaro's statements. Do you think that will actually happen? That we will see a Brazilian military in Venezuela?
No, I think it happened.
I think it's too far-fetched to happen.
No, it's just like he wants to say that, to put that image of he is not afraid of what his leftist regimes in South America think about him. It's basically about that. It's about creating a certain image. But I don't think he's that reckless to the point of actually starting a war. He understands that he needs to fix the economy first, actually create large changes that,
he also need a casus belli, basically. I mean, he can't just go in Venezuela and just say, I'm here to bring back democracy. And I've seen people saying that the U.S. might influence Brazil into that direction, but I really doubt it. I really doubt that in the nearby future, like in this year or later, we will see that happening. I mean, it's too far-fetched for the reality. I mean, we need to change the situation in Venezuela, but an intervention will make it worse.
Sorry.
Well,
don't get on me.
Bolsonaro in Brazil and Duque in Colombia. I think that if Trump would assess the situation, if the Pentagon will assess the situation for the factibility of a coup in Venezuela, I think they would prefer, to get the Venezuelan army to do it with the support of Brazil and Colombia. I think that would be the most likely scenario in that regard.
Yeah.
According to my other Brazilian friend, and then I will quickly comment on my thoughts on the Venezuela situation. One of my Brazilian friends has said that Bolsonaro is, while he's not corrupt and is rather authoritarian, he has shitty morals and apparently has less brain to mouth filter than Trump. If this is the case, I am really looking forward to the magical gems that his Twitter will produce.
The memes will be epic.
Oh my
yes.
Oh my god. The best thing is the difference between. Sorry.
No, it's quickly. So I made a meme. It's like I saw meme, and at this point has 457 views on Twitter. Oh my god, I love it.
Can you show it
just want
here?
to. Get what?
Can you show it here? Do we,
I don't
what-
know if I don't know if you can show it. Show you the audio, but let me see.
if we could upload it to the channel, would it be okay?
I mean, I posted in my personal channel. I mean, I don't post nothing, but it was in the video. But okay, you won.
I think it's already shared. So if anyone is following us on Twitter at QP_podcast, it's on our Twitter feed. Feel free to take a look, have a giggle. It is pretty awesome. So good work, Ozzy.
Yeah, I tried to pick. I went for the most funny picks I could find. It was a bitch to edit, basically. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can film the screen and basically.
Okay. It seems that Trump already congratulated Bolsonaro
Oh
on
my
his win.
god.
The axis of evil is rebuilt.
He said, "We'll make America's great again."
There we go. Here it is, everyone.
Oh shit! I saw, praise the Lord, then break the law. Take what's mine, then take some more. Pause. Shit.
Oh,
I love it. I'm proud of it. Proud of it.
But
So that's showing now the post of Haddad, who basically said that in the 28th, his wife will be sleeping with the future president of Brazil.
Congratulations
God.
to Bolsonaro.
yeah, what was it like? I can't. My Portuguese is awful compared to my Spanish. It was like eu já deixei claro para minha esposa no dia I don't 28.
I help you with that. Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, I know the meme. I saw you share. Yeah, I already made it clear. My wife on day 28th of October is going to sleep with the next Brazilian president.
Well,
What a way to
worst
own
phrasing possible. He made the worst phrasing possible.
Yeah.
say
Is it real or it's just like a meme? Like,
Not only won the presidency, but he won Haddad's wife, and that is a major victory.
no, gentlemen. It is the spoils of war.
Hey, are you treating women like property? You fucking misogynist bitch.
Well, listen. We just have to,
guys, let's
right now-
respect women. Let's respect.
Oh yeah.
Yes, of course, we have to. I
Respect.
I hate women as much as every other man in the world.
love women, but anyway, especially when I have a sandwich.
Okay.
But I'm just kidding.
No, let's say something now.
But yeah. This is going to be fun. I mean, I was hoping that the Masonic fearing mountain man was going to win.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
I hope-
couldn't be. Oh my god.
Oh.
At that point, I would be just like, yeah, I guess I can burn my Brazilian passport at that point.
like,
Not
have
going
you guys
back.
have you seen that Count Dankula where he went to the European Parliament and at the end of it he's like implement order 1488 or no, what was it? Not 1480, it was like 1778. Gas the boomers. Instead it would have been him. He would have just been like, the first day of me as president, gas the Masons. It would have been like this great Masonic purge. It would have just been like, there are no drug dealers are not the problem. Those crafty Masons are with their robes and magic underwear.
Yeah.
And then he'll be confused with Mormons. And then there will be trouble. But I think he was the only other candidate I really knew about. I don't think
There was a woman. Let me see.
the
because-
socialist one.
I mean, she was. No, she wasn't from the party of Dilma.
Oh,
Um,
by the way,
Dilma was. Bachelet was basically Brazilian Dilma.
Yeah.
Bachelet. Oh my god. So let me see. They are here. Oh, Manuela Davila. She's pretty. The only commie I actually find hot. Oh, there's another one, but I can't mention it right now. Oh, yes. Marina Silva.
Oh,
She
I
was-
think. Sorry.
No problem. She was member of the PT until 2009, and she became a candidate in 2010 for the Brazilian Green Party.
Yeah.
And in 2018, she supported PCP, British. I've heard of her. She was an activist for many years. She had tried to get to the. Marina Silva is generally considered to be a centrist and environmentalist. Oh, centrist, we're gonna have a problem here.
She's also had hepatitis and malaria a lot.
Oh, that's awful.
That's first thing it says on her Wikipedia. Growing up, she survived 5 bouts of malaria, and in addition to cases of hepatitis and metal poisoning. Okay, that's a random thing to bring up, but cool.
Yeah. Well, she grew up in the northern region, and back then, like, there wasn't a lot of access to healthcare. So that's one of those things. Yeah. The impressive thing, I think, is she was technically illiterate until she was like a teen. And then she somehow managed to still finish high school and then go to college and get a degree.
She was with She was environmental minister under Lula da Silva, I think.
Right? Yes, she was. And then,
Can we just say that no one talks about Temer?
the vampire. Oh, that's one of the few things I can agree with. Yeah.
Isn't he going to jail too? I'm pretty sure. Like
no, he's not. It's like no. And one of the few things I can agree with the leftists is that he is a vampire. Like he really is. Like it's not a joke. I literally believe he's Nosferatu. Like just look at any picture of him.
Yes.
He literally is. Also, like his approval rating was in single digits. Like it was like, and if you consider the margin of error, it could be that no one actually approved him. Like it was who approved him? Maybe his mother. Like his mother. Like, not even his wife approved him.
He's supposed to be 78 years old.
I don't know his age.
Temer's 78.
Yeah, 78. His wife is, I think, 38 or something like that.
Oh, lucky bastard.
Well, he's marrying people. Let me see. Oh, she's 35.
Yeah.
Somebody has a grandpa thing.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, and she cheats on him. Like that's the thing.
With
Everybody
Bolsonaro.
knows.
Oh, please Google her. Do yourself a favor and Google her.
Actually, Temer looks like what he looks like. There was a guy from The Sopranos. He was like the leader of a rival group in The Sopranos, and he looks like him. I'm gonna try to get the name. It's not Joe Pesci.
Italians confirmed to be Arabs because he is Arab. Temer.
Marcela Temer.
Yeah.
Oh
shit.
Oh
Gentlemen.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm just trying to see who this guy looks like.
So we didn't get the
Nosferatu. Yeah, he looks like Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nosferatu. He does look like. Man. Yeah.
It's kind of, but it's kind of sad that we didn't get the Nathan uprising.
He looks like, I think it was I'm trying to remember now. Is it Ray Abruzzo? He looks like, I'm trying to remember. No. It's no, it's Frank Vincent. He looks like Frank Vincent from Sopranos. Kind of
making excuses. So
yes, I can see that. I can see. Now I see. Yeah. kind of.
Yeah, he to Palafox, who was in the chat. Yes, he is. He is not a handsome man. But
Yeah,
you know,
he is. He is ugly as hell. Like, yeah, and but
Okay, there's an article by La Tercera that talks up with Lilia Schwartz, author of Brazil, Una Biografía, in which she is a historian and anthropologist and considered one of the most respected intellectuals in Brazil of the University of Sao Paulo. And she says, and I quote, Bolsonaro's campaign was made on the fundament of fake news. I would like to know exactly what kind of fake news. I mean,
oh, okay. There is some level of truth to that. Because do you know WhatsApp, the application, the app?
I heard the app of something about WhatsApp and stuff like that.
Yeah, WhatsApp. Basically, it's an app that allows you to text message to people, and it's very convenient because it's connected to your cell phone number. So as soon as you add a contact, it also adds to WhatsApp, and that way, if you're on Wi-Fi, you can text for free. And that's everybody in Brazil uses that. Yeah, so people create groups, people exchange, and became a kind of social media that's kind of like Facebook, but you can choose who you connect with directly, and you only read stuff from your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like became a very important thing, and it became a vehicle to spread information too. And I think like there was this thing that a lot of parties were using to spread false information for other parties, because it's a way that's like you cannot really see where it originates. So you cannot go to, I don't know, you can't get sued under Brazilian like libel or defamation laws. So it happens. A lot of fake information. I have heard anything. I have heard even like that Haddad raped an 11-year-old through those things, and it spreads. And my it's not real, but people get this information, and I receive from my parents and some of my aunts and uncles. They believe that's real. They hear it there and they believe it's real, and they will say as if it's a fact. So
well, Slate has come out with an article. And being Slate, of course, you know it's salty. Once my browser decides to work, damn it all. Essentially, it was like Brazil elects pro-torture, far-right, anti-gay Adolf Hitler clone who is now more extreme than Trump.
He is more extreme.
Oh yeah, no, like my friend is one of my friends is his family is a bit worried because Bolsonaro is pretty much just like, so I want to make it easier for all of you to get guns.
That's one of the few things I like about him.
Now, I don't know if Brazil really needs more guns. That's kind of the problem, which is why you can't really be safe in Rio de Janeiro.
I mean, it's like those guys gonna get guns anyway. At least I would have something to like go to a shooting range or something like that. That's how I feel.
Is it hard to get guns in Brazil though? I imagine.
Yes. Because I know that because my uncle and legally my cousins were trying to get some guns, and they had to first do a shooting test that my uncle failed. My cousins passed it, but they also had to do, of course, a psychological test. But now he has to wait like, I think 3 months before he can go there and request his gun. And they cannot keep the guns at the store, so I think it's another few weeks to ship that. So he will only see a gun in like 4 months, and he already passed the shooting course and a psychological test. And
guys, just really quick, the owner of Leicester City Football Club has died in a helicopter crash.
Oh my god!
At the stadium of Leicester City. He was the he's Thai. So just it's Biche. I can't even pronounce that name, and I'm sorry.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that name?
What's
Yeah.
his name?
What the
Ah,
fuck?
Red
the owner of Leicester City died in a helicopter crash. In the
Yeah,
What is his surname?
in Leicester City Stadium. The helicopter crashed.
King Power Stadium.
Yeah, sympathies for him. Definitely, that's actually really tragic. I'm not a Leicester City fan. I'm into Manchester United for my at least for my English football.
Get out
My
of
heart,
here.
no. My heart belongs to Grimsby, though. My heart belongs to Grimsby FC, but they're not in the Premier League. But the only team that I like besides Flamengo, and the only reason I like Flamengo in Brazil is because Paulo Guerrero played for them, is Alianza Lima. So, and just for Mexico, Cruz Azul.
And what about Germany?
Bayern Munich.
Yeah, because Paolo Guerrero and Claudio Pizarro play there.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Claudio Pizarro.
Get out of here.
No, he's not that good. Jefferson Farfan is better.
What?
I'm starting the internet war.
Farfan played for Schalke, for God's sake.
Okay, well now we have to offend Lizard too. Claudio Pizarro is better than Pele.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I don't care a lot about football.
Okay,
You're
well,
Brazilian, man.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know I should have
burn
to
your
care, but
passport
I
now.
don't. I prefer
Burn-
basketball.
Okay, from now
okay.
on,
So are you sure you're not Filipino?
Canadian? At this point, you're
I think, yeah, maybe. No, no.
Actually, Filipinos like really like basketball. It's one of their national
Yeah.
sports, I think.
Yeah, they
Um,
do.
But no, he'd have to like hockey.
Hockey's cool. I watch it. I also lived in upstate New York, and they're obsessed there.
who do you like for hockey?
For hockey, I tend to follow the Dallas Stars because I
Oh,
would go to
God,
the games
no.
a lot when I lived there. Yeah, they are
Montreal
fucking.
Canadiens.
Oh, okay. No.
Oh no, the
Oh,
Canucks.
man.
You're into the
At
Vancouver
least my
Canucks?
team won a championship this century.
You know how
Yeah,
hard
Vancouver's
is.
never won.
You know how hard is to combine with one of those here.
How do you get that in Mexico? That must be like the rare. That's like a blue eyes white dragon or something like that in of like sports memorabilia in Mexico.
Oh my god. It's such a huge business to sell stuff. Like, you get hockey and American football stuff, and you just put the price way above the actual, like, and they resell in Brazil. They do that a lot. Like, people bring stuff from the United States.
But now moving on to the next conversation, because Brazil is. I think we're gonna have to do a follow up in the future over the Brazil tweets.
Yeah, and
Because
we should make a I don't know, like a conclusion of this topic for the time being. So, Reptilian, we would like to hear like your final thoughts for this election day.
Okay, my final thoughts is that, like, I know I joked here, and I seem like I have a very, how can I say, careless attitude about all that. But for me, it's very upsetting that my country, after we have such a young democracy, feels like that there is no way out other than to vote to someone who makes total apology to the military dictatorship. It's just like I can understand why they're doing that, but in the end, it greatly upsets me. And I want people to understand that military dictatorship wasn't just about, oh, you could not say some stuff. There were a lot of torture. There was homicides. There were people who disappeared for no reason. This is not a system I'd like to live, and I certainly don't want a country with a guy who looks at that and feels like, oh, it was okay, it was nothing. It was just the communists, and they deserved it because they were communists. So, yeah, that's my final thought. He got elected fair and square, but I'm really afraid of the consequences for that.
Oh, by the way, I have to say this, even though we were supposed to conclude, I was just browsing Twitter, and George Takei
Oh,
has
fucking.
made a comment.
Fuck.
Oh my.
Let's hear it.
Brazil now joins the ranks of Russia, the Philippines, and America. What a club, where a democratically elected president wields power through fear, calls to violence, and the dismantling of democratic safeguards. We live in perilous times. We must, each of us, work to stop this dark tide. Cue heavy metal music on Dark Tide. I didn't know that Donald Trump was dismantling democratic safeguards. I can see Russia and the Philippines. But
It's like I said, compared to Russia, compared to Philippines, don't compare to Trump. It's not the same thing. It's worse. Like, yeah, I know it's cute for all the American leftists to go there and call Trump a fascist, but you're like, it's a different level now. It's a different level. Like, you don't have a 30-year-old democracy. You had a 200-year democracy. You can't dismantle that. Democracy in Brazil is much easier to dismantle. So stop comparing. Oh my God, I hate that.
Trump isn't even taking anything away. Like, Obama did more to dismantle democratic safeguards. I mean, he drone striked American citizens without trial. And
I mean, you can. Yeah, then you have to go into voter law and other stuff like that. If you really want to talk about democracy there.
And also, well, I don't think Trump is using the IRS as a weapon with his political enemies. But because
Obama was great for that one. I remember when he used that to shut down or try to shut down a lot of conservative groups.
Yeah, Obama weaponized the IRS, and nobody gives him a stick for that.
Now, if Trump would have done it, they would have said it was the end of civilization as we know it.
Yeah, totally.
But by the way, speaking about the dismantling of democracy, I think this is a good time to bring in what's been going on with the airport consultations in Mexico City.
Oh, well, just a thought from my point of view for that in that regard. I think if you want to see it as the extreme positions of Bolsonaro, will bring some kind of balance to the extreme positions of AMLO now when both take power. I mean, one far right, if you want to call it that way, and the other, I mean, if Bolsonaro is far right, then AMLO is far left, totally. And it will be I'm dying to see the organization of American states meetings. It will be like I think like this time when Hugo Chavez almost got to the punches with the president of Colombia. I think we'll see something like that.
Didn't Chavez also tell off the King of Spain?
No, the King of Spain told Hugo Chavez to.
Oh yeah.
Shut up. Yeah.
¿Por qué no te calles?
God bless Juan Carlos.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I visited Spain by those days, and I got a T-shirt of "Por qué no te calles?" and the king saying "Por qué no te calles?" I mean, it was like the last stand of the monarchies, of the modern monarchies, against the new regime. But then okay, going to the airport. So You see, uh, Mexico right now is well in Mexico City. It's there right now. People they are building a new airport. It will be like the most modern airport in Latin America, and one of the most modern airports in the world. Like everything in a single terminal under one roof. It will be like a big, nice thing to see. Like it's really aesthetic design. But well, and I remember from when I was a child, the problems to take the land from the to take the land to where the airport is being built from the owners of I think we have discussed it before this topic here about the ejidos here in Mexico, the agrarian reform of the 1930s, which basically um, uh, turned the countryside of Mexico into a communist utopia. Like there was one ejido here, and everyone was was a collective owner of the land because they worked the land. But this thing came crashing down in the last 30 years. It's it has been like a lot of corruption and people stealing from others. It's a total chaos. So thank God it's gone for good.
But
Well,
now
well
there was
so
a video. Sorry.
okay, so the land issue here with the ejidatarios has been like they didn't want to their lands to be taken. At the end, they were expropriated. It was the process was an expropriation uh, process, fair and square, everything by the book, but they rioted with machetes, and
Oh wow.
they fought the riot police. They one with machetes and the other with weapons of riot police like batons, uh, big water cannons, and everything else. So at the end, well, the airport was one of the AMLO's big talking points. There were like he was he promised as one of his campaign promises. Sorry for the repetition. That the airport will be, the airport works will be cancelled, and because it wasn't needed, that it only it was sufficient with the new reconditioning the new airport, uh, transforming an airbase from of the army into a second terminal, and and to help the to unload some of the you know passengers landing on the Mexico City, to renovate the airport in Toluca. It's another major city in Mexico, and it's really near to Mexico City. I mean, it's but people has told him, it will be really expensive to pay like the penalties for canceling the works of the new airport, and don't and I don't and they haven't started with the costs of his or what he's planning, but it will be far more expensive than finishing this airport. One of his talking points was that the airport was built in a lake. Well, surprise! Everything in that area is built in a lake, like Mexico City was built in a lake, and people has been building in that lake since the 14th century. So it's almost infuriating to see people, buying his and many people in Mexico City buying that talking point that they are building in the lake. Dude, your house is built on a lake. Now he says, well, In a major showmanship of cowardice, in my own opinion, he said, "Well, I don't gonna take the final decision. Um, the decision will be taken by a public consultation." Okay, on the legal side, on the legal note, the Constitution the Mexican Constitution in its Article 35 contemplates the possibility of public consultations, but limits them to one every 3 years, taken by the Electoral Institute here, and it has been a simple question, like an answer of yes or no. And this guy did this with the money of his own party, well, and the money of his collaborators, and put the most polling stations in his home state, Tabasco. Tabasco is in the southeast, near the border with Guatemala, and this guy is to put it in perspective. Tabasco has 2 million inhabitants. Mexico City has over 20 million inhabitants, and Tabasco has more polling stations than Mexico City. Also, in the parts that he lost in the election in the general election, he didn't put any polling station. So now it's consulting the people that if they want to finish the airport in Texcoco, the one that is being built on a lake that he wanted to cancel, or if people want to reconditionate the actual airport, and take the base of Santa Lucia from the army and build an airport there, and give Toluca Airport a chance. These two options: Texcoco, or and do something with what it already exists. The Texcoco Airport has a lifespan. It's projected to be useful for 50 years. The solution he proposes is good for 8 years. I mean, it's the perfect move. During his tenure, this will work, and it will burst in the hands of the next people that comes after him. So this consultation started in Thursday. And with this, there was, for example, here in my hometown, Aguascalientes, there was a guy. I mean, everybody knows it. He works for the PRA party, the party that ruled Mexico from the 1920s to all the way to the 2000s, and he managed to vote 4 times in that consultation. So, and many journalists said that they were able to vote 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the record right now is 6 times a single person.
Wow.
And there was a video that was shared in social media of people in the polling station, using marking the ballots with AMLO's favorite option. So the opposition is not taking seriously this consultation. The AMLO's party is not taking serious this consultation. I mean, I know that the decision is already taken, that Texcoco Airport will be cancelled, and we will have to deal with all the consequences of that. That some people think it will take us to international courts over that. So
but
that's how it is.
now,
Yes.
sorry, what's the legal redress for this? Like, especially with this video evidence of fraud. Is there something that can be done, through the Supreme Court or anything like that?
I mean, since well, it's a kind we'll say like a legal or extra legal. I mean, it's not organized by uh, an authority or the government, so you can't fight that yet. But a group of students of law students in ITAM University actually presented an amparo. It's like a guarantees trial. People, fighting, going to the federal tribunals to fight for their rights.
Yeah.
And they are arguing that the budget law gives in the last year of a president, this law gives some discretionality or some authority to the president elect to design the budget for next year, and they are hanging on that, saying that the president here is trying to it's exceeding their because AMLO in this case will have to include the penalties of not completing the airport in the next budget. So, and he's exceeding the money he can like accommodate in the budget. It goes something like that. So maybe there's an option, and also the party of AMLO already came to blows with the Supreme Court, because they passed a law that says that every federal judge have to rotate their location every 6 years. Which I mean, imagine being a federal judge and telling you are working in your hometown, and then okay, tomorrow you are going to be the federal judge in Islas Marias. Islas Marias is a penal colony of Mexico. So imagine that. Would you like to be from, I don't know, Querétaro or Guadalajara, Monterrey, another or any nice city here in Mexico, and then tell you that you are going to be the judge or a judge in Islas Marias, a penal colony? No, I don't think so.
Wait, they still have penal colonies in Mexico?
Of course.
No, this sounds like some kind of weird repeat of the Dreyfus affair.
Yeah, Rome, Britannia. So, what do you think? I would like to hear what you think about it.
I think that this is actually rather sad and scary that he's not even president yet, and this kind of gerrymandering is going ahead. It doesn't bode well for Mexican democracy.
Yes, I don't know. We have discussed AMLO like many times here previously. I don't know, Reptilian, if you have anything to say about AMLO. Have you heard anything of him? Or
all the information I got about that is what you said right there. But yeah, it's very concerning when governments try to use the systems that's like, yeah, people voted, but they're kind of manipulating how that gets counted. Like you said, gerrymandering. Yeah, it's a very disgusting tactics that a lot of governments are using in current time, and I hate that. Like,
it's I don't even know how this can be allowed to get away. But I mean, like Eduardo said, what judge is really going to risk being, sent to some location that they really don't like for offending the government? I think that that kind of flexibility in the legal system contributes to the,
I mean,
to this behavior.
the government won't be the one who decides who puts who in which location. That will be the judiciary council, which is like the ruling organ of the judiciary branch. Well, not like a ruling organ, more like an administrative organ. But and of course, like in this council, the chamber of the Congress and the executive branch have a say in their decisions. Like they have representatives in there. So imagine that. Well, now that you say it, maybe they will have a. They maybe they can send a judge that went against the government to an ugly place.
Yeah.
But, oh well, but I would like to this a couple of no, sorry. By the way, this guy from my hometown that voted 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
AMLO's party already doxed him.
Wow.
And is circulating their personal information among their members. He's posting in Facebook all the messages he's got. And if something happens to him, which I hope it doesn't come to that, I don't know what is going to what is going to happen with the the common Mexican, the common voter of AMLO. I'm not talking about the hardcore AMLO fans. No. The people, the common people that is fed up with violence and corruption, and then see that this guy was attacked or something in the street by some lovers, as we call them. How this? I don't. Well, I hope that AMLO tells his people, like, do not stand down, do not do anything to him.
I doubt that's going to happen, though.
Yeah, and well, of course, AMLO proposed his option of making or renovating the current airport and using Santa Lucia base as an airport against the recommendations of the MIT.
Wow.
The organism of the MIT, the MITRE, about civil an organization of civil aviation from the MIT, told him make a really thorough study of what option was best, on why Texcoco was the best option for a new airport. And AMLO said, no. These people has been bought. The government bought them. I mean, he truly do, and this is an interesting parallel with Bolsonaro. He believes in what he says. That's the big problem with him. And he is the image of a person of the 70s. I mean, he has the image of the government and its works from the time he came to Mexico City in the 1970s. And he thinks the government should be like that. I mean, he never has criticized the people that were president in the 70s. Miguel Echeverría, no, yeah, Echeverría and José López Portillo, two of the worst presidents of Mexico, in my own opinion.
Even worse than Cadenas?
They're tough call. Cárdenas did a couple of good things. These people literally provoked. Well, their actions led to Venezuelan levels of inflation.
Wow.
So, and this guy, like, he's proposing many of the policies of these two guys. At some point he said, I want we should bring the Alliance for Progress back. Alliance for Progress was like a joint government program from the United States, from Kennedy, from JFK, and Mexico's presidents back then. That was basically the United States giving money away to Mexico. It didn't solve anything, but he wanted to bring that back.
Yeah, God,
I mean, free money.
By the way, just to kind of start to wrap up, I guess. How is the progression of the I don't know, this migrant caravan? Have they made it to America yet?
No, and apparently they are.
Oh, the caravan, yes.
The
not yet. I think we haven't reached the border yet.
Yeah, and apparently the government is starting to, to react and send some of them back. For example, there was like this kid that was like the face of the caravan, and well, the government stopped him at the border and repatriate him to Honduras. Like, dude, you're coming here without your parents. You can enter. Come on.
I heard that Trump has delegated responsibility of this matter to Secretary of Defense Mattis.
Mad Dog Mattis.
Yeah, the warrior monk.
Mad Dog.
The warrior monk is going to handle this, and I actually would prefer that he handle this because, one, he's an experienced general, and two, I think he would handle this a lot more delicately than Trump would, because he has that tactical experience.
Mm-hmm. How are you guys talking about that?
But by the way, one thing I've kind of noticed, I see a lot of parallels with migrant movements as to the fall of, say, like the Roman Republic. Because if you look at like the destabilizing force that caused when the Roman Empire collapsed, and well, I should say the Western Roman Empire collapsed.
Yep, the Western Roman.
I mean, it partially, it was due to stagnation of the economy, over reliance on slavery, and of course barbarian migration. Now, I'm not saying that migrants are barbarians.
I mean, but we understand. We're talking about Germanic barbarians.
Yeah, but I mean, but what I mean is that the parallels are there. You have an influx of people coming into a country that's going to destabilize it to an extent. Like, I mean, now
a huge flux of people, of course, they're going to destabilize a nation.
Now, like, for example, the Venezuelan diaspora. I know that in like Lizard was saying off stream, that the influx of Venezuelans into the north has put considerable strain on the healthcare system and social services in northern Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lima has like 400,000 or 500,000 Venezuelans in it just in Lima.
Wow.
I mean, Lima's a big city, 8 or 9 million people. Well, 8 million people, but they can't handle it. And I mean, as someone who, I monitor the situation in Venezuela very closely. I'm 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 very involved in it. I mean, I'm not even allowed in the country officially. And that not for anything violent. For anyone who didn't know, I sent uh, a large red marital aid to Nicolas Maduro and asked him to very kindly sit on it. Um, also, I'll say it in Spanish: "Es un gran rojo consolador." So he deserved it. And by the way, I'm hoping to make this a yearly trend. So if anyone wants to get involved in dildos for Maduro, I think it'll be a worthwhile campaign just to let him know that we're thinking about him and we're hoping that he puts those consoladores to good use.
We hope so.
But no, but anyway though, now while there are plenty of good Venezuelans coming into some of these countries who are willing to work and adapt and assimilate, there are others who are going to cause trouble. And in Lima, the crime has gone up. I have friends on the ground in Lima who are police officers and have said that they've seen reports and that come across their desk where the crime has risen. There's more robberies, there's more assaults, there's more vagrancy, and there's also civil unrest because you see, a lot of these Venezuelan day laborers, they have to compete with the Peruvians. Peruvians really don't like that. So there's a lot of problems. I mean, Ecuador has, I think, 500,000 of them in Ecuador. Ecuador's not a big country. That's a lot of people.
In fact, there are more Ecuadorians outside of Ecuador than in Ecuador.
I think I
wonder why.
I wonder why.
Good old Rafael Correa, who's now in Brazil, or no, in Belgium. Sorry, but I mean, you look at the size. Okay, actually, no. Ecuador has a big population, 60 million people. Man, they're busy over there. But no, I mean, it is still, it's a problem. It's say 500. That's 500,000 more people that they didn't plan for, or the system hasn't expanded to match, which does cause problems. Now, I don't think the Venezuelan migration has really affected Mexico, though. I don't believe.
No, they tried to come in here. Well, they didn't try. Even people coming for business from Venezuela started to get rejected in the airport, sending them back. If my government if Mexico will receive refugees, I would prefer, bring Venezuelans than central people, or people from Nicaragua than people from Guatemala, Honduras, or El Salvador. I mean, I think they have a bigger need in these times. And there's another video. Pablo and Ernest, I sent you this video earlier.
Okay.
Is how the migrants in a city of Chiapas.
Oh yes,
left
the garbage.
All the garbage they left. The food they were given, many was complete, they didn't even touch it. Clothes that people gave to them were in trash cans. I mean, what is these people expecting? Because Mexico already offered them
work
and healthcare and some other things, and they said no, thank you, we're just coming through. No, I mean,
why?
If the United States have to do anything about it, and when they reach to the northern border of Mexico, I just have a message for them: do what you have to do. I don't care. These ungrateful bastards are not looking for help. They are a political, and they are total political group doing what somebody else's wants.
I mean, the people who are directing this are from Chicago, basically.
So they're essentially, so these people are essentially, what's the word in Spanish? Marionetas.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
These people are puppets. I think even they are going through Mexico with Soros's money. So.
Well, like every time I see the pictures and video of them, they're all like walking, but then like at the end, they're all like, after all the cameras are put away, they all get into cars and drive. Because I mean that caravan has moved quite rapidly. I mean,
to be just people, basically.
Well, I mean, you look at the different geographics of Mexico. I mean, the south is really tropical and disease ridden. You know, there's different mosquitoes and bugs and such. So, and malaria and other, tropical ish diseases. So, and yellow fever. That's going to slow people down. And they moved incredibly rapidly through these regions, and then they're already up, so far. And there's no way they could make it on foot. Like, they're, but I mean, the way the media portrays them, they're like the wildlings escaping to the wall.
I will. That is possibly the most accurate choice of words because let's be honest here. Does anyone of these leftists who constantly raves about how we need more integration and stuff is actually going to go and help them or receive them at the border?
Probably not. Well, I mean, in order to help Venezuela, the United Nations sent to Peru the most qualified individual they could get, Angelina Jolie. They sent Angelina Jolie to talk to the Venezuelan refugees. Not anyone who knows what they're doing. No, just Brad Pitt's ex.
That is why I think that the UN is at this point is not of use to anything. It's no use of anything.
No, the UN is a useless organization that wastes money. It's like the European Union. It's absolutely worthless. Its only goal is to extend globalization and encourage it. And globalization has caused enough problems. I mean, we're seeing these shifts in demographics. But I mean, like, the only thing you could use the migrant caravan for is to relaunch the Mexican recolonization of Texas.
Yes.
Well, if they try, I mean, I wouldn't like to with the role that the United States play in world politics. I wouldn't like to take Texas back just yet.
Because California.
No.
California love.
No, California, because it's in charge of Governor Moonbeam.
They can go independent for now.
Because that flag they have, but the bear,
it's cool.
it is cool. But I think the new one coming out, because as progressive as California is coming, it's going to be one of those leather bears. In the bondage outfits.
To be honest, I believe there is more of those kinds of bears than the ones that live in the woods.
Oh well, I don't know. Those guys live in the woods too. Furries.
No, let's not go there.
Furries are a blight on society.
I like furries.
They're coming to my area now too, and I live in a relatively rural area of Newfoundland, and we have furries. I don't know what to do. I have called the police. I've tried to assemble the militia. I can't get rid of them. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for it to be like for furries.
Are there any female furries?
I can't tell. You can't tell with a furry.
Okay, because
they have the full fursuits.
The only one that I make exception would be to who is Adam from Your Movie Sucks.org. He's cool. He's cool. I make exception for him. All the other furries no.
Well, V ruined furries because V like Sargon's friend.
Oh, I know V. I know V.
He's a furry, and
Really?
Oh,
apparently yes. Apparently V is a furry.
I thought he was. I thought he was.
I didn't think I could like V less. Didn't think I now you just made it possible.
Well, we do. I do my best.
Yeah.
V is an interesting character.
He's a gypsy. So basically, that's all we need to know.
The funny thing is, like, every Eastern European I've ever met does not have anything positive to say about the Romani people. Because
you should talk of my grandfather. It gets pretty bad. Like,
Well,
he's Italian, so.
Ooh, they really don't like gypsies.
Yeah, and his whole family was before he went to Brazil. His whole family was associated with the fascist party of Italy.
Wow.
Well, I mean, Brazil is Italian Argentina.
Yeah, Bolsonaro is actually Italian and German. His ancestry. Really.
Wait, Italian German.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Now we get it.
But yeah, no.
Coming soon to Brazil, spaghettis and swastikas.
That's it. Man, that should be the motto of Brazilian South, like spaghetti and swastika.
Especially in Rio Grande do Sul.
Let's make penny al pesto with swastikas. That should be penny al pesto with swastikas. Much better. Spaghetti is more like Southern Italian thing.
No. It's fascismo e pasta fashion. God, it's going to be interesting.
Speaking about Italy, Matteo Salvini just congratulated Bolsonaro too.
Ooh,
of course.
the axis of evil grows.
The Axis empires will rise again. I mean, I see people speaking about saying that the fourth largest democracy in the world has fell to fascism, and I'm just thinking, okay, so just say you're salty that you lost.
Didn't Brazil also have who was that other fun, I think, somewhat democratically elected guy, Getúlio Vargas?
Getúlio Vargas.
He was like the great. He was like Mussolini's, like, he idolized Mussolini.
Let me tell you his story. Like, he is the guy who kind of coined the South Latin American populism. Like, he and Perón he realized that, look, if I just create this image of like a common guy, like a people's, like a charismatic guy, and give some stuff to the poor, they will stop complaining, and that way I will keep them under control, and that way I avoid communism, but at the same time, again, the favor of the elites, because I gonna be better than communism for them.
He was a socialist, though. He was kind of left. He was left-leaning.
Getúlio Vargas?
Vargas was kind of left-wing.
No. Okay, let me explain this. He created some social programs, but no way. Like, his main oppositions, there was a fascist party in Brazil. It was the integralist movement, would translate. And there were the communists. The leader of the integralist movement went in exile, and he kept his military pension. So he was still getting the checks for his military pension in exile. The leader of the communists, I think he died in torture. Yeah. So it was a very different treatment to both groups. So he was closer to the fascists, but he kind of tried to stay away from that. Like, so I disagree with that.
But we can all agree that if Bolsonaro wants to become a dictator, he will go with the Chilean approach and start throwing people out of helicopters.
Yeah, probably.
No,
Let's see that.
Probably.
he was a paratrooper. So what he's going to do, he's going to fly on like those paratrooper, like those troop transport planes, and push them out. Because a helicopter is he's a paratrooper. Helicopters aren't his style.
Yeah.
He needs a C-130, and he's just gonna roll them out. And instead of a parachute, it's going to be like a weight. Yeah, I honestly though, for clarity's sake, I really hope none of this happens, and I hope he's just democratic.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
but can I just finish one thing about Getúlio Vargas?
Sure,
Like,
please.
yes, sure.
when he saw that he was going to lose power, he realized that's a guy. His life was politics. That's determination. He realized he was going to lose the presidency, that he would not stay in power. So instead of that, what he did is that he wrote a letter in which he stated like the powers above me, but he never specified who it was, but he made very clear that was the opposition party. And then he killed himself.
Yeah.
And then there was a huge funeral, like there were people filling the streets around his casket. He went through Rio, and there was this crowd just crying with pictures. Yeah.
Guys, breaking news from Chile. So I wasn't fully aware of this because, of course, we were talking about that it was important. So there was a pro-life march here in Chile, in which here is from the Cooperativa, which is one of the largest and most influential radio stations. It says anti-systems group. Anti-systemic group were part of incidents against evangelical march on the center of Santiago. So when I start reading is that it was a march for family values and for, in its majority, an anti-abortion march. And the interesting bit is that the media is portraying this as there were minor incidents. Yet, I'm watching here a video. I'm watching. There are black-clad thugs attacking people with stones and sticks. This is, and I'm just laughing because I never thought I retweeted it, so you can see my Twitter. But oh my god! And the left wing wants to keep power. Yeah, keep power. Attacking people you don't like.
Well,
So
we
easy.
are going through some stuff here in Newfoundland, not on that level. We literally had a blatant display of cronyism. The Minister of Business and Tourism hired the daughter of the lieutenant governor, like the viceroy of Newfoundland.
Is she hot?
No. But the thing is that they hired her for the state museum, the rooms. I think I've showed you guys a picture of it before. Ozzy and Eduardo, like that really, really, really ugly building in the middle of St. John's, Newfoundland, in the historic district of all places. But anyway, they appointed her to the second highest paying job in this building or in this organization, and it pays like $130,000 a year. Here's the thing. She is incredibly well connected. Her mother was a former cabinet minister under Justin Trudeau.
Wow.
Judy Foote. Her herself, her name is Carla Foote. So she was the communications executive for the premier, the Primer Ministro de Newfoundland. And here's the thing, she got the job with no competition. The minister comes out on CBC and goes, "Well, we really needed someone to fill this job, and no one else wanted it. So I used my power as the main shareholder of the rooms, and gave her this job because she is really qualified and she can reach out to the government because she has the connections." And I'm like, this is blatant corruption. This is literally the definition. And I got told was like, you shouldn't say that. You can't call it corruption. That can be considered slander. I was like, nope. He admitted it. He's like, yes, I gave her the job. I used my influence as a cabinet minister, a minister of the crown, to give her $130,000 a year job with an open-end contract. So it's not temporary. It's not until we find another candidate. She is here as long as we are in power, and maybe a lot longer after that. And the best thing about Newfoundland is that if we hire someone to the civil service, we usually give them a severance, even if they get fired. We fired the head of our energy company, Nalcor, like last year. We gave him like $1 million severance, even though we fired him. We pay you to get fired. But anyway, I've personally called for the minister to step down, and he hasn't said anything, and he probably won't, or he'll just say no because he doesn't believe he did anything wrong. But cronyism here is ridiculous. You wouldn't believe the levels of corruption in this province. It's stunning, and we'll have to do a stream on it someday, because trust me, you guys think South America's bad. You got to go to Newfoundland. We're not bribe the police bad. We're just like help your buddy get a job bad. And everyone here generally works for the government. But yeah, so that's how it is. And the carbon tax is in. I don't know if you guys have heard about Justin Trudeau's carbon pricing plan. Yep.
No, I haven't heard of it.
So what it is that there's a couple of provinces who held out. I think it's Saskatchewan, and Ontario, and a couple other places have said, we don't want anything to do with this plan. We're not listening to you. We're not doing anything about it. Go to hell. So Justin Trudeau says, okay, that's fine. We're going to implement a tax on this, this, and this. So your bills, your heating oils, and things like that are going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think each Canadian citizen is going to have to pay, or each citizen of these provinces is going to have to pay the equivalent of like $200 a year extra. But we're going to give you back $300 a year. And Newfoundland, of course, didn't refuse to take part of this plan, and they came up with their own plan. Our plan just raises our fuel taxes, because this is apparently, we're the ones who are causing all the carbon pollution for some weird reason. Not the factories. It's the guy driving the Uber car. So the best part is that we're getting screwed, and meanwhile the guys who actually said we're not participating in the carbon scheme, they're getting rewarded. And I think it was Brad Wall who said, I gotta find this tweet because it is golden. I'm pretty sure it was Brad Wall.
Among other reactions, at least here in Chile, Bolsonaro's election, our President Piñera congratulated him and says, "You're invited to come to Chile." The saltiest guys on Twitter just kept playing, "Oh no, I'm meeting a fascist."
Oh, guys,
like,
here it is. Sorry.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's Brad Wall, who was Premier of Saskatchewan. He goes, usually when somebody tells you to send in money, but you'll get more back in return, it's a Nigerian prince.
Oh, guys, breaking news.
Yeah.
Apparently, Honduran migrant was killed in the bridge between Guatemala and Mexico with a rubber bullet.
Oh.
Ooh, those optics are bad.
Yes.
I mean,
I'm going in.
it's sad for him and his family, but
It's a gold mine for the media.
yeah, and you want my opinion? They were asking for it. Sorry.
Attacking people with machetes, sticks, and stones. I mean, you're gonna get the bullet.
I mean, they came clashing with the police in the border, but mm, it's bad. But they were
It's not like unexpected. I mean, it was.
um, nobody was going to receive them with a hug. So whoever is coordinating this shit, now they have blood on their hands.
Mm.
Well, I mean, they generally don't care because it's all for the greater good. As messed up as that is. Guys, I think we've kind of covered everything tonight.
Yeah.
Next week.
Especially the baby today.
Yeah, next week is our. Oh, I know you will, Ozzy. Right now, there's probably enough salt in Brazil right now to give us each a lifetime supply of tequila shots.
Yeah.
But next week we are going to be doing the discussion on the U.S. midterms. We're going to hopefully have a few special guests. I've lined up a few sources. Hopefully they'll be able to make it. Once we get those guys nailed down, we'll announce it on our channel. And the week after that, for the 11th of November, we're going to be doing a Great War stream. Because it is the 100th anniversary of the end of World War One.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The war that what was it there? Mexico almost got involved in because of the Zimmerman telegraph.
No. We were hitting ourselves in the head.
Yeah,
you go to war.
You should have. But listen. I think Mexico was wise because you know what happens whenever some sort of German king or prince offers you guys a deal. It usually ends up in violence, and then somebody gets shot.
I mean, he used our guns, but the problem with this rifle, the Mexican rifle, the German army was using was that the mud of the trenches got into the gears, so it wasn't really good. I mean, it was semi-automatic, the lever, the Mondragon, the lever action. No, it wasn't a lever action rifle.
Yeah, but Mexico created the first self-loading rifle,
and you blew it.
The Germans blew it. we managed to transform some of those in machine guns, like changing the place where the ammo is stored with a drum of 100 bullets, and changing, making the adjustments for automatic fire. It was a direct competition for the American bar.
Cool. But yeah, next week, in 2 weeks, that's going to be a great special edition stream, and also, guys, it'll be our 15th stream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is a celebration in many ways. So I guess I'd like to say thank you to Lizard for coming on. It was great having you on, and hopefully we'll have you on in the future.
Yeah, it was great to be here and talk. I apologize if I stayed quiet when it went outside of Brazil, just because I have really not kept with international news outside of that.
I mean,
but yeah, thank you very much for having me here. It was nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
No problem. And to all of our valued listeners, thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, and join us on Discord. The link is below the description.
Yes, definitely. Please. We'd love to have you on. So I guess this is Ernest saying good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night and good luck.